guys. So I just wanted to talk to you about the test tomorrow. Chapter 10 test. There are 22 questions. The first page has a lot of graphing in it, but the graphing's really not that hard. Numbers 1 and 2 ask you to graph the function and compare the graph with the graph of y equals x squared. And they're very basic graphs. So let me give you an example of one of the types of things you can expect. The first one looks kind of like this. Okay, y equals negative 4x squared. All you have to do is make a t-chart. X, y, and use negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2 as your numbers. And then figure out your y values. So if you plug in 0 for x, y is also 0 in this case. If you plug in 1 for x, 1 squared is 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. And it'll be the same thing for negative 1. 2 squared is 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. Again, same thing up here for the negative 2. And then you're just going to need to graph it. So when you graph this, 0, 0 is the vertex. Then we have negative 1, negative 4, and 1, negative 4. So here's 1, 2, negative 1, negative 2. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. First dot, second dot. Then I'm going to draw my dots at 2, negative 16, and negative 2, negative 16. So we go 2, and then I'm going to count down to 16. So I get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There. And there. And I draw my parabola. Okay, so that's the first half of what you're supposed to do. After that, what you'll need to do is compare this graph to the graph of y equals x squared. Remember, y equals x squared is just your regular old parabola. Now, I know that one difference is that this is upside down. Okay, it opens down compared to a regular parabola, a regular y equals x squared parabola. Another thing about this is that it is much more narrow, and the reason I know it's more narrow is because it's at, it has an a value of 4, so it's going to be more narrow. Remember that if it had a value of 1/4, that would mean that it's wider. Okay, and then the third thing that is that I want to compare is the vertex itself, and this actually has the same vertex. Okay, so tomorrow I'll write these 3 things on the board. I'll write that you need to make sure that you have up or down, narrow or wider, more narrow or wider, and also the vertex, compare the vertex. But this is really how simple those are. Just use a t-chart tomorrow, okay? After that, you're going to have a question that has to do with the domain and range of a parabola. They have a picture that they drew for you, and you just have to tell basically what the limits are, what the top and bottom limits are, and the side-to-side limits are. That's something that is pretty simple, and I'll talk to you about it more tomorrow in class. Numbers 4 and 5 say to find the axis of symmetry and the vertex of the graph of the function. Remember that the axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a, and then the vertex is when you plug in axis of symmetry for x, find out what y is. So, for instance, I'm going to do a problem that is similar, and these are already set up for you pretty nicely. Let's see, I'll do this one. Y equals negative 3x squared plus 14x minus 8. This is actually number 9 of your homework for tonight. So this is a lot like 2 of the questions on your test. So remember, axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. So it'll be negative 14 over 2 times negative 3, right? That means it's negative 14 over negative 6, which is the same thing as 7/3, positive 7/3. Okay? The vertex is when you take 7/3 as your x value, the axis of symmetry, plug it in up here, and see what you end up with for your y value. So negative 3 times 7/3 squared plus 14 times 7/3 minus 8. Okay, so when you do this, it's going to be negative 3 times 49 ninths, and I'm going to cross cancel here. This is going to be negative 1, this is going to be 3. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. 14 times 7 over 3 is what's going to end up here, and minus 8, which is the same thing as 24 thirds. I'm going to just write everything in thirds because I know that's what I'm going to be dealing with. 14 times 7, I'm going to use my calculator, is 98 thirds. So let's see. We'll end up with negative 49 thirds here, okay, because I had a negative 1 there, times 49 thirds, plus 98 thirds minus 24 thirds. So essentially I'm doing 98 minus 49 minus 24. And I end up with 25 thirds. So here's my answer. Okay, axis of symmetry is 7 thirds. Okay, vertex is the point, 7 thirds, 25 thirds. Okay, so you're going to have to do a couple of these. There may be fractions. They probably won't even be as complex as this is, and this isn't that bad.